Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening, however you're listening. This is Quantum of History, and today is going to be just a bonus episode. It is to celebrate that on this day, 25 years ago, November 17th, 1995, the U.S. audiences were introduced to Pierce Brosnan's first outing, what I think is probably one of the best, one of the top three. It's the one that changed it for all of us in our mid-30s, a whole new generation of Bond fans. Today is the day that Goldeneye was released to U.S. theaters. That's right. All the people in my age group, this was the movie. This was the movie that did it. This is the movie that spawned the video game, and the video game that spawned most of our love for this franchise. How it started, this was the day, 25 years ago. I think the quarter centennial is a big day to mark and be excited about what the gift we would have given. That is Goldeneye. What a gift. I mean, not the soundtrack. I don't want to hear about the soundtrack. But everything else, this movie is flawless from start to finish. So 25 years ago today, the James Bond franchise was on life support. The last film, License to Kill, had bombed, and still to this day, being the worst performing Bond movie in history. It had been 7 years since this flop, and there had been thoughts that maybe James Bond's time had passed. A reset was in order, and with the addition of Pierce Brosnan and director Martin Campbell, the team was ready to once again prove that James Bond's prowess. Pierce Brosnan is the perfect amalgam of all the Bonds. He has the charm of Connery, the humor of Moore, the intensity of Dalton, and the naivety of Lazenby. Now, having the foundation with an amazing director and the perfect Bond for the mid-90s at the time, it was time to surround him with a stellar cast. Adding newcomer Isabella Scorupco as the new Bond girl, rising star Sean Bean, Famke Janssen, and Tony Award-winning actor Alan Cummings, and character actors Gottfried John as the villain stood primed to become the greatest villain ensemble to this day. And it really is. There's no doubt Goldeneye has the best villain ensemble of any of the movies. Bond alumni Joe Don Baker had established comedian Robbie Coltrane signed on as the team of guys who were going to help Bond on his mission. Finally, Dame Judi Dench was cast as M, the first female M in the series. And with all the cast set, it was time to make Bond great again. The film debuted on November 1995. The initial buzz was not as large as previous Bond films, but once word of mouth and stellar reviews quickly made Goldeneye becoming a massive worldwide hit. To this day, it's the 7th highest grossing Bond film, coming in at $356.4 million worldwide. Any Bond fan can attest why. This film has it all, starting with Brosnan himself. Now, being in my 30s, Brosnan is my Bond. For my generation, we knew Brosnan as our Bond, and he always delivered on being just the Bond we needed for the time. For myself, I still put Brosnan right behind Connery as the 1-2 punch of the best Bonds. Our intro into Casino in Monte Carlo, where we first see him in a tux playing Baccarat against Xenia on the top, reminds me of how Bond film can be fun too. So much of what we had to deal with in the Craig area is doom and gloom, in his feelings, all this other stuff. But to rewatch this movie and remind us just how much fun James Bond can be makes me miss the days of when James Bond was fun. Xenia playing praying mantis, love-making style would make any man okay with the prospect of meeting their maker. Pure animalistic passion in which Xenia derives sexual gratification through violent lust makes everyone watching those scenes just feel a certain type of way as you watch it. Secondly, the story, which now seems overdone and passé for the time, but was a new breath of fresh air. The story of Trevelyan being a double agent, being Bond's equal, knowing how Bond operates, made for riveting storytelling. In one of my favorite scenes of all time in the movie, the cinematography of Yanis' reveal as Trevelyan in Statue Park resonates even today when I watch the movie. Brosnan is brilliant in his reaction to the reveal, and as the dialogue is fantastic before the two. Boris, while having his terrible Russian accent, is so good as the computer programmer. His dorky perversion with Natalia makes you root against him. His snarky condescendence makes you hate him. And the epic death and catchphrase is indelible. I am invincible. And then you see him not be invincible. It's such a payoff. Natalia herself was perfect, and her story arc was incredible. She goes from naive computer programmer to formidable partner on the mission. She is quickly stripped of naivety in the events of Severnaya, and as the story arc progresses, she finds herself in confidence and competency to be more than a Bond girl, but a true ally. Omarov is menacing, and while speaking so much in his expressions and handling of the climate of the moments draws you into the story. Joe Don Baker and Robbie Coltrane bring out the humor in the movie, both delivering comedic gold in every scene they're in. Finally, Dame Junie Jens, and would be a character arc used time and time again. Her contentious relationship with Bond makes for great character conflict. You're a relic of the Cold War, a sexist misogynist dinosaur. It's iconic. It's an iconic line. She still feels like M here, and not what she morphed into the Craig movies. The journey of Bond as he travels through the world, the pacing, the imagery, the locations leave nothing to be desired in this movie. This all culminates in the greatest ending, bar none, of any Bond movie. The satellite and the dropping of Trevelyan. For England, James? No. For me. I mean, it's just so good. It's just the best climax. And remaining to this day, the best ending of any Bond film. I'll argue till we're both blue in the face that that's not the best ending of any Bond film. All told, Goldeneye is forever will be my top 5 Bond film. It will be my first and for a long time my favorite. It spawned the greatest video game of all time, in which the film it accompanied. Brought about by the paradigm shift in entertainment medium, 25 years later, let's celebrate the culmination of the greatest Bond movie. Second or third best Bond movie, Goldeneye. I love this movie, so I just want to take a time out and make a quick video and just talk about how much I love this movie. I think that I appreciate this movie more and more and more as time goes on. When I first saw the movie, of course I loved it. I watched it to say about the DVD, did everything, right? And then as we see in the Connor or the Craig area, you're like, oh yeah, grit, yeah, it's so gritty. It's so gritty. It's just gritting all over the grittiness. Just gritting, just oozing everything. Yeah. And now it's just so done in 2020. I just miss fun. And it's, the Goldeneye is the perfect mix of him being smooth, sophisticated, suave, being vulnerable, being emotional, losing sometimes, being tricked sometimes, falling in love sometimes, and also just having fun and having, because again, you're still just driving around the world, being a secret agent, driving fancy cars, all this stuff. It's still it still has to be fun. And so when you watch Goldeneye, I just watch it today, and I watch it more and more every now, especially now that it's on Netflix. I don't know why. I'm just lazy to put it in sometimes a DVD player, but to just click it right there on my Netflix, what's suggested for you? I see you like Goldeneye. I do Netflix. In fact, I do. And you are correct. I will have another serving of Goldeneye. So Netflix at this point just knows me. It's like, all right, Goldeneye again, sir? Yes, sir. Oui, monsieur. So I can't say enough good about this, especially as time goes on. As time goes on, I love this movie even more than I did before. So 25 years later, we can all celebrate the greatness, the indelible, the perfection that is Goldeneye. And again, it spawned the greatest video game of all time too. And as you can see, if you're watching this YouTube and you're watching the series that I'm doing, no one touches me in this game. I'm telling you, I'm taking on any comers. But GoldenEye 64 is my jam. I hear a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of not stick getting. So help me talk and gush more about GoldenEye. Look with my good friend Luke from Bond's Apartment, also from his podcast, Blunt Instruments. Him and Jake have a great podcast. So if you're not listening in, tune into that. It's Bond's Apartment. Welcome in my good friend Luke. I want to welcome in my good friend Luke Taggert from Blunt Instruments.
What up?
Him and Jake have got an amazing thing going on with that podcast. It's really catching off, really catching fire. I know you guys just got your 1,000th listen, and I'm sure you're probably at 5,000 already since the last time you posted that. So welcome on, Luke. It's good to have you on.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me, man. You look great, as always.
Well, I got to keep up with you.
He's a handsome son of a bitch, man. You guys get to see it now. He's on the video, so you guys get to see it. He's a man.
Well, look at you, man. You look like Tom Cruise, just made for TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just my teeth are centered to my face, unlike his.
And you don't keep Katie Holmes captive.
No, or my kids or whatever. But what are you gonna do?
Not yet, right?
Not yet. Yes, they're not born. If I'm telling you right now, if I have a girl, which does run in my family, I have an older brother and sister, 2 nieces apiece. If I have a girl, she will not see the light of day until I'm dead. So.
Well, welcome on, Luke. Again, like I said, you guys, I feel like you and I kind of have the same sense of humor, especially for the Bond community, what we have. And I think we're going to kind of have the same sentiments. The people who like me are gonna like you, and people who like you are gonna like kind of maybe like me. You're probably gonna have more listeners than me, of course, but it's
Oh,
we have the same sense of humor, I think, and I think that it's our little niche in the community. I mean, I have the niche of niches, history and Bond. Like I've got this small little corner. What you
mm-hmm.
and Jake have are something different, but do you have a little bit of crass to you too in your podcast too. So I
Oh yeah.
appreciate the little bit of edge, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of
We've
now
got some
everyone's gonna like
haters. We got some haters.
look
That's
it.
okay because you know what I say to them?
What's that? Do tell.
Fuck yourself.
Well, so creative, so creative.
Yeah. Oh, there's more, but I got to check with Jake first and blah blah blah, and.
Oh, double branding, right?
Yeah. Can't mess up his shit. I can mess up mine, but can't. He just hit 5,000 or 10,000 followers on his Instagram, so I can't screw with him too much.
I know. Congrats to him too. 10K is a
Yeah.
ton.
He's a
I'm
legend, and he just wanted that swipe up, so now every Instagram post he posts, it's swipe up. Like it's like okay.
He told me that
We got it.
I was actually the first swipe up he got to use. He
Yeah, I think you were. I think
uh,
you were.
another first on my list. I'll take
Uh-huh.
it.
Lots of
So,
virginities taken in anyway.
well, today we're talking about Goldeneye. I know that Goldeneye is one of those movies that affected you and I are both the same. We're both kind of the same age range. And what did it mean for you?
So Goldeneye, and I was thinking about it today, knowing I was coming on to talk with you, but for me, it wasn't just Goldeneye was the first film I saw. I mean, I truly didn't know about Bond or the film until the video game. So basically, one day my dad came home, and obviously I was pretty young. I can't remember 7, 8, 9, whatever it would have been. He came home. He's like, "Hey, some guy at work told me about this video game thing, Nintendo, whatever the hell." And he's like, "So get in the car. We're gonna go get one." I was like, "Okay." I mean, I was young enough to not know or care
Father
what it was.
of the
I
year.
know. Trust me, it's a fond memory to look back on. But basically, we went to Toys R Us, and I think I picked out like Rogue Squadron, Star Wars, and maybe like Mario Kart or something. And then people kept telling me to get this game, so I would rent it at Blockbuster. And then, I think for me, what really separates this from other ways of getting into the franchise was imagine being a kid, 7, 8 years old, playing a video game, and then finding out that there's a film attached to it that is pretty close to as shot for shot as a video game can be, and just being able to it's almost kind of like seeing a behind the scenes of a video game when you're the kid, because that's the more important piece of the puzzle at first.
Yeah.
But seeing that, I was like, this is incredible. Like even just the scene the very beginning when he goes in through the bathroom stall, like I was like, this is literally almost shot for shot. So to me, that's how I got into it, and to me, it's by far the most influential of Bond films on my fandom, I should say.
Yeah, I think that you can put the history of Bond into like three categories. You got the first one, which are the Sean Connery years. Then
Hmm.
you've got the Roger Moore, and then you've got Goldeneye, and that's three different distinct phases that led into
Hmm.
different fandoms. So you and I are the Goldeneye craze, and
Yep.
the same thing. And then you look at Baron Samedi when you get into Temple, and like,
Yep.
what is this? And then you get to see
Yep.
Jaws, and you have to kill him the three times in the level. Like, what are all
Uh-huh.
these characters? And you don't have. I had no idea who they were either. It was just a game me and my friends played
Hmm.
incessantly. And then I remember the first time I saw. Do you remember the first time you actually saw the movie itself?
I couldn't tell you the first time I saw it, but one thing that's weird about it is if I could turn it on and watch it right now, and I still get the same vibe I did when I was a kid. That I can pinpoint. It's just a weird nostalgic feeling turning that film on every single time. I mean, it just brings me back to being a kid. I can't remember the first time I saw it, but I can tell you that it does have that effect on me.
Yeah, for sure. When you played the game, what did you always use on multiplayer?
Oh, I always played as Bond, and then I mean, I had all the cheat codes too, so I'd be like dual golden PKs or some stupid shit like that. But yeah, and that there's a guy in the community. It's like his Instagram page is like Goldeneye 64 or something, and he put like, "You're in multiplayer. What gun do you use?" And I think I said that, and he just ignored the shit out of it. He's like, "This guy didn't even play the game." I was like, "No,
Yeah,
you didn't. We played
yeah,
two
you
different games, my friend.
you played the real one. I played the cheating one.
Were
See,
you
mine
an
was
odd
always
job guy?"
no, I was not a rod job guy. I was a like security guard number three, because everyone else was fighting. I'm like, no, I'll just kill with the security guard because I'm that badass.
Yeah.
And then the other part was I always use remote mines, and I'd screen watch the hell out of you. I just watch you, and
Oh
the
yeah.
minute you came, I'd A and B together, and I just laugh incessantly as you just dun
hmm
dun dun.
Yep. Yep.
It was the best.
Did you ever use the remote mines in facility when that guy's doing the guard walking back and forth and you can
Yep.
send him over the ledge or whatever?
Yep.
I mean, it's
Absolutely.
classic. It's a classic game, but try playing it now on a flat screen, you'll puke.
I still actually had my mom bring down a tube TV, so I
Mm.
set it up in my office at work. So I would take all the young bucks to school.
Oh,
Like
that's awesome.
all the other detectives would come in or try to step up, and you ain't
Yeah.
got the stones or the
Oh
sticks
no.
to
Yeah,
step up
that's
to the
right.
old man.
No,
So I
nobody who played that game when it was out originally can be beat.
no, I'm invincible. I look like
hmm
10-0, 10-1 every time.
Uh-huh.
What about the movie itself? Like I said, so we've got the parts, and you say the same thing. What did you think of Brosnan when he showed up? I mean, for me, Brosnan will always be like my
hmm
nostalgic Bond. What did you think about him and looking back on his performance?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was incredible. You can say what you want about the films. I mean, if you don't like Goldeneye, there's really nothing wrong with Goldeneye. It's a solid film. You can nitpick it all you want, but there's been much worse films even in Daniel Craig's era. So you can't really get too bitchy about Goldeneye, but he was great. And I will say personally, I mean, obviously each Bond has a different swagger to him or a different way they handle themselves. I always thought he was definitely the coolest by far.
Mhm. I think that even the separates Goldeneye too is its ensemble of villains. So
Uh,
you look at just the pack of all of them that they have. They were just such a great ensemble. You've
oh
got
yeah.
Boris, which I still to this day again say I'm invincible, and
You just did. You did a minute ago.
my jokes aren't good to begin with, but when I
Uh-huh.
date them with Bond references and everyone looks at me awkwardly, just like Stuttgart, and
Yep.
I'm invincible and all these other ones, I think it's funny. No one else
Uh-huh.
does.
Yeah.
But and then Trevelyan was great, and Xenia.
Mm. Yep. Yep.
Just the whole ensemble, I think, it just really in overall all of them together just make I think the best ensemble of villains. It makes the entire movie is so interesting from start to finish.
hmm
So not only just like Batman is the best, I think comic book character because the villains are the most interesting. It's what
hmm
separates Golden Eyes because the ensemble is just the most interesting out of all of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with the Batman part too. We can talk about that shit another day because that's like a 4-hour conversation. But um, Jake and I, when we did our ranking episode for Pierce Brosnan's films, which obviously him and I both chose Goldeneye as number one, that was one thing I said is they started Goldeneye and they did somewhat of a deep cut with their casting. They were like, we're gonna find some relatively somewhat unknown actors who are incredible, and we're gonna make a real film. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
mean, they all had done things and everybody had seen them in places, but there's nobody Halle Berry-esque in that film.
Yep.
So, they casted just a bunch of talented actors and actresses. And our biggest issue with the two in between films was they're casting people because they're hot, but they're not any good. And then they cast Halle Berry, who might have been too good. And Rosamund Pike was kind of more of a Goldeneye type actress than a Die Another Day because she's beautiful, but she's actually very good. So I think that casting wise, like you said, they hit the nail on the head with that one. Everybody's very, very good in that film, and I don't think it could have really been recast any better.
I think that kind of was the defining part about Brosnan's whole tenure is that the next three films he got everything he needed for the first one, and then the next
hmm
three films they just let him down by
Yeah,
not getting what they should, rather than what they thought they needed. So
yeah,
that's what cast a shadow on his. I would have loved to see him one more, a fifth one, but we got
yeah. I mean,
Casino,
it
so I
was
can't.
well, exactly, and I was gonna say it's his Casino Royale. It was his coming
Mm.
out party, and it was his best film, and it was you kind of saw that, and you were like, holy shit, only good things to come, and not so much, unfortunately.
All right. So before we get going, I gotta do this every time, right? So I'm gonna give you the chance. You get to be the admiral, the Canadian admiral, but you got to suffer the same fate as the Canadian admiral. Are you taking the did rigor mortis with the smile on your face, or are you just skipping it and hoping for living another day?
Yeah, I'll take it.
But you're gonna have to say Xenia, I can't breathe right at the end. Clearly,
Dude,
that's
so
end of
I have
coitus.
a funny story about that.
I do love to hear these stories.
It's not, I don't know if you'll think it's as funny because I don't think it's up to par with stories that you and I might tell each other off camera. But so basically, like I said, that movie was huge when I was a kid, and I remember being in my backyard playing football or something, and like 6 of my friends dogpiled on top of me. And I remember just being like, get the fuck off. I can't breathe. Like, get off. Literally just like that. But because 2 of my friends who are brothers are idiots, somehow linked that scene with that dog pile. And for probably 10 to 15 years after, like, remember when we dogpiled you and you're like, I can't breathe? I was like, you fuckers. That is from a movie. I didn't say that. God. And then I had to like go be like, see, and they're like, oh yeah, I guess. It's like nobody like can't breathe and literally says it like they're at an opera. Like that's not how people say things.
Well, you should have just owned it. You should just own it. That's why I said my jokes aren't always fall on deaf ears because these people, they don't get our humor anymore. That's why we're in the same boat here, Luke. We're gonna have to fight. We're gonna have to spread the humor of Bond.
Yeah,
our dark humor.
I told you this before. You can come on our show anytime, buddy.
Well, I appreciate the invite, Luke. If you're not following him, not listening to his podcast, it's Blunt Instruments. It's a great podcast. And it's going to be, like I said, you're going to take over here soon. We're going to be the new ones. You and I can share haters and we can share fans too.
Love that.
Maybe we can share Xenia's too. I don't know.
Oh, God, I wish. She was the best.
No eye contact.
No, and Natalia's pretty damn hot too. Let's be real.
Yeah, she's all right.
I think she got better looking with age, actually.
Have you seen her Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Or no? I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right, my man. Thank you so much for coming on again. Luke, Blunt Instruments, if you're not following him. Bond's Apartment on IG, Blunt Instruments podcast. Love it. Looking for good things from you, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you again, Luke, for coming on. It's always fun to talk to you, and I definitely take that death rattle for Xenia. So you and me can be Eskimo brothers that way. We're Eskimo brothers in a lot of ways, by the way. For some reason, him and me end up with the same guest over and over and over again. That Lorenzo from Omega Bond watches, and that slutty ass Asian Jason Kim. Oh my God, he's so slutty. He's so slutty. He's in everything. But it was always fun talking to him, man. Looking forward to more projects. And in March, he's supposed to be coming this way to the East Coast. So I cannot wait for him to pick up the sticks and get that Goldeneye 64 work. So again, thank you guys for so much tuning in. Goldeneye turns 25 today. Celebrate it. Thank you so much, Pierce and Martin and everything else for giving us this movie. And Rare for giving us that video game. Thank you so much. This has been Donnie Walden from Quantum History. Take care. Stay positive out there, guys.